Hello, everybody. Tonight, we're going to talk about the Lost 40 and all the shit that goes on there. Now, this is a place in the Midwest, and there's ghosts, there's demonic activity, there's dogmen, there's even a house that sometimes you'll see, and it looks like it's on fire, an old log cabin, and then all of a sudden, when you get closer to it, it disappears. There's been murders there. There's been people go in there and never come out. No matter how well you know that area, and I know it real well, you'll never ever go in and come out the exact same way you went in there. 40 acres don't seem like much woods when there's fields all around it. But when you get into this 40 acres and head toward the center of it, it's almost like you step in a parallel universe. And these woods look like they go on forever when you're inside of them, when in actuality, it doesn't. There's also places, big rocks. I mean, big rocks. Some of them bigger than a vehicle that are set up to look like chairs. There's even a rock pedestal. In front of the pedestal, there's a big, long rock on two smaller rocks that looks like where they'd do sacrifices. There has been black art practices in there, devil worshiping, animal sacrifices. This woods has a little bit of everything. Now, my first dealings with this place started out when I was a kid, and they went out through the years as I was growing up. Sometimes you'd be hunting near that place, and your dogs would head in there and not come out. You could hear them, so you'd have to go in there to get your dogs. If them dogs meant anything to you, you'd have to go get them. And I wasn't leaving my dogs, come hell or high water. Like I said, this place is one of the wickedest places I've ever been to. When you go in there, you want to make sure you're carrying plenty of ammo and you got a good lantern, not a flashlight, even though you should carry one of those or a couple of those too. Now, I had some coon hunting lights, had a big giant battery that hung on your side, and it had a cable that went up, and on top of your hard hat, there was a light. You could take it off of there and shine around, put it back on there, and you had different settings and different lenses you could put on it. Now, the coon light that I had been using would last 18 to 22 hours, sometimes longer. I'd never had a problem with that light except for in that forest. The only place I experienced problems with this light, and I would come out of there and that light would kick on, work perfect. But there were times without that lantern, I'd have been lightless. And in them woods, they are so thick, you can't see the stars, you can't see the moon. Without that, you're kind of at the mercy of this woods and the inhabitants there, whether it be ghosts, dogmen, Satanists, devil worshipping witches, a little bit of everything. And there were several times when the things that was in there would try to do bodily harm or kill you if they got a hold of you. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started with the story. It started out when I was about 8, 9 years old, maybe. Now, my dad's brothers, they were big into coon hunting. They'd start as soon as the crops got out, and they'd hunt all the way up until coon season went out. And sometimes after coon season went out, they would just run the dogs, go out and sit in the back of the truck, drink a few beers, and listen to the dogs run. Because you get caught killing coons out of season, that's a big fine. But like I said, they were big hunters. Don't know that any of them ever deer hunted, but they did love to coon hunt for whatever reason. Now, me, I enjoyed it because back then, coons were like 50, 60, $70, sometimes $80 a piece. You could make you a good little chunk of money in a night's run if it was a good night. Well, that night we started out at my dad's brother. I'm going to call him Elroy. I don't have permission to use his name, even though he's passed away. He still does have family. Well, we started out at my uncle's house, and there was Uncle Elroy, Robert, three cousins. Well, we sat in the house, shot shit for a while, and trying to decide on where would be a good place to turn loose. Well, my Uncle Elroy, he said he had the perfect place. I'd never heard of this place. Well, everybody's kind of looking like, well, okay, where's this place at? Well, does it have a name? Because most places do have a name. If you're a coon hunter, there's, different hollers and things. He said, yeah, we're going to the Lost 40. Well, his youngest son and his oldest son was sitting there, and they was like, oh, shit, Dad, are you serious? Well, none of us knew. Well, them boys act like they were scared shitless. Nothing doing. Well, I'd brought my gun. Uncle Robert brought his. These two boys even brought their guns and their dad, Elroy. So we all had guns, and we was all packing a lot of ammunition. So they filled the coolers of beer and ice. We filled another cooler with soda for us kids. We headed out. Well, since my Uncle Elroy knew where he'd going, he was going to ride with us, and Robert was going to follow with his son. So we headed out, turned left out of his driveway, and made another left, and followed that old blacktop along, and up through some hills and around some corners, and we come to a kind of like a crossroads. Now keep this in mind, a crossroads. Kind of like what you hear about these making a deal with a crossroads demon. That's what this road looked like. That crossroad. Put you in mind, it wasn't a straight cross. The road we was on was straight. The road that was cutting across it come down and made a funny looking sachet like. Well, we stopped there and no cars coming because they had the right of way, and we jumped on across the road there and headed on south. After a few more corners, Dad looked over and he said, God damn, how much further we gotta go? Uncle Roy said, oh, it's a few more corners up here. We followed the road, and of course they were drinking beer, that's what they did. Now you gotta understand something. The guys, like my uncles and my dad, They were a different breed of man. They wasn't scared of much. That they was scared of, they definitely probably wouldn't talk about unless you get them a few beers in their belt, and then they might start telling about it. Otherwise, they ain't gonna talk about shit. Now these are guys that would drink, pass out, have an alarm set, get up, and go to work, whether they're hungover or not. My dad claimed he never ever got a hangover. Now, as for my two uncles that went that night, oh yeah, they'd bitch and growl the next morning, but they'd still go to work. It's just the way they were. It's the way they was built, I guess. That's the way their mindset was. They'd fight at the drop of a hat. Well, anyway, we kept going and we went past a guy that the whole family knew. The other guy and his wife and kids, they was like family to us. Well, they'd all pointing saying, yeah, that's where he lives right there as we went past. Well, about another quarter mile up the road, there's this bridge. Really ain't much of a bridge. It's mainly just concrete guardrail, and the road goes between it. Kind of goes over a small little tiny stream that ain't over about 3 foot wide, maybe, and maybe about 5 inches deep. A lot of minnows in there. As soon as we crossed that, my dumbass Uncle Elroy was sitting there, and he goes, "Hey, hey, hey, slow down, goddammer! Right up here. See that there field road?" My dad goes, "It goes into the goddamn woods." He goes, "Yeah, that's where we're going." And my dad turned his blinker on, and Robert, my uncle, he turned his blinker on, and we turned in real slow. Of course, it about bounced you out of there. And my uncle pulled in behind us. Well, this road kind of went probably about 50 foot into the woods. Now, people going by, being that far in them deep woods, they're never ever going to see your vehicle unless they stop and shine the light looking for something else. So we pulled in there, and my dad looked at my uncle and he said, "You son of a bitch. Are you crazy? How much beer you drink today?" My Uncle Elroy is in there. He started laughing. He goes, "Oh, hell. You ain't scared of some woods, are you?" Well, them two boys of Elroy's was sitting there, and they looked at each other, and then they turned and looked at my dad, and they said, "This is one place we don't separate." My dad said, "Why, you got a chicken shit or what?" And you gotta understand, these are hard guys. I mean, they don't make men like that anymore. I mean, if you could have took them and dropped them out in the Old West in the 1800s, they would have thrived. That was the kind of mentality they had. So we all get our guns and load up and light up and light the lanterns. I always carried a lantern, but I didn't always wanted, like in the military, they always told us two is one is none. So you always have a backup plan. Same with the backup light and so on and so forth. Well, my dad sat in there and he looked at me and he said, "You can't see shit." "Yeah. If you ain't scared, are you?" "No." So we opened the dog boxes out and I grabbed my two coon dogs and jumped them out and had them on the lead. Now, me, when I had these two dogs, I had a mountain cur and a leopard cur. Ugliest damn dogs you ever seen. But they were good dogs. I didn't pay hardly shit for these two dogs. They had a problem. The problem was when you fed them, you make sure they was on the chain to the dog house. You pulled the bow out with a rake, put food in it, and then shoved that in there. Because if you got close to that food bowl, they might attack you. That's how I got them for free. Almost nothing. But other than that, they'd never do it. So I just learned their habit and dealt with it. Well, anyway, on this lead, I had a split. One dog was on this one dog was on this one, but they was on the same lead because it come into one and then come up to the handle where I was holding on. They didn't tug and pull and act like a damn fool, but they knew when time was right, I'd turn them loose. Well, everybody else got their dogs out, and we're standing there and talking, and my uncle said, we just keep on walking this here path. So we probably went about 100 foot in the truck, and everybody started unsnapping their dogs. Well, them dogs took off in a mad run, sniffing and looking and pissing and the shit and doing what they're supposed to be doing. So my uncle said, well, we'll just walk on up here and wait for the dogs to open up. They'll hit something because cornfields on each side. Well, my two cousins, Elroy's boys, was like, guys, remember, nobody separates. My Uncle Elroy goes, you boys, you're going to scare these guys. But we do really need to stay together. And of course, my dad's standing there and he's like, y'all scared of the dark or what? That's what these guys done. As kids, they'd aggravate each other. They would still do that when they were growing up. It was just what they did. We're walking along. Off to our right, this wood starts getting wider and wider. It starts out kind of narrow where you can see on each side. The further you go in, the wider it gets, and you can't see what's on the outside on either side. We was walking, talking, shooting shit. Now there was me, my dad, my Uncle Robert, his son, Elroy, and his two boys. That was all that was there, besides these two dogs of mine and then their dog. So we're walking along, and I was kind of behind a little bit, me and my dad, because we wasn't sure more how we was going. We was just going to follow my Uncle Elroy. He said he knew where he's going, so follow the leader almost. And I hear something off to my right. So I kind of stopped and I'm trying to focus in on what I'm hearing. And I'm hearing something walking paralleling us. So my dad turned around. He said, will you come on before you get lost? We'll leave your ass till morning. So I caught up with him. I said, hey, not trying to sound no kind of alarm to be a chicken shit, but there's something paralleling us. Dad goes, you chicken shit. I said, no, I'm serious. Listen. We'll start walking and listen. So I was trying to be quiet when I was walking, and my dad was too, and he heard it. Well, he shined his light over there, and nothing. He's like, come on, it's probably just a deer or something. So we started walking again, and there was this little small branch, creek like, that kind of made a bend that was underneath that bridge, and it come through them woods, and it made a bend coming toward us. And my Uncle Elroy said, You got to watch out because this trail is right against that little bluff thing there, and you take a tumble, you end up down in that damn water. So we was all trying to watch where we was walking. Now this noise, this walking sound, is now in the water, and we can hear it, and it's down below us. So I grabbed my dad's arm. I say, "Hey, shine down there. That whatever it is down in that water is following us." My dad kicked the light on and shined it down there, and you could see where the water was muddy, like something had been walking in there. It must have understood what we were saying, maybe, I guess, I don't know. And it must have hugged the bank, the bluff, where we couldn't see it. So Dad said, "Well, I'll just keep an eye on it. Don't alarm anybody, but just in case you're wrong, don't want to tell that damn idiot." Okay. So we're walking along and we hear it again. And my dad shines a light down there. This thing that we seen in that creek was a dogman. It was about 7 foot tall, give or take, roughly probably about 400 or 500 pounder. He was jet black, but them eyes were glowing an amber color. And when my dad's light hit him, dude, he stuck out like a sore thumb standing in that creek. He stood there and he huffed a little bit. And of course, my uncles went on. They was probably maybe 60, 70 foot from us, still walking. They didn't hear it because they was busy jabbering. My dad goes, "Holy shit, now what?" I said, "Well, I can tell you from the programs, if it wanted to kill us, it would have done it. Don't point a gun at it." Now, I don't know how you're going to tell them not to point a gun and shoot at it, but don't, 'cause that thing will kill all of us. So I'm just telling you. I don't know why he's following. Maybe he's just curious, but they're scary looking. And trust me, even me working in the project with these things and dealing later on with them, and even the one that has the pack in the woods behind my house that comes up into my yard, they're a scary sight. I don't give a shit who you are. I don't care if you're friends with them. They will put the fear of God in you just by the sight of them because they stand up and they're fucking huge. When you see those nails, those muscles on them things, and know how fast they can move and the abilities they have, if they want you, you ain't getting away. That's why I've tried to tell people, if you see one in the woods, don't raise a gun and point at it. If it wanted to kill you, it would have done it. It would have seen you and noticed you before you ever noticed it. Their eyesight is great. Their hearing is really good, and they are as fast as the wind. Not counting the abilities they have of ripping you apart if they wanted to. My dad looked at me and he goes, "How come it hasn't attacked?" I said, "I don't know." I said, "Maybe it just don't want to. But trust me, it would have got us back when I started hearing it." I said, "But still, we keep an eye out, but just, I don't know how you're going to tell them not to shoot at it." Now, you got to remember something. My dad was the youngest living brother because the two other brothers got killed in a car wreck. They're inside of me. Projects, they done that to me when I was in there. So my other two uncles, they wouldn't mess with my dad. I mean, yeah, they clown around with him, but as far as two of them jumping on him or one of them, no, my dad would have whopped them. So he goes, let me handle this. Okay. He goes, hey, hold up for a minute, guys. So I just stood there. This thing went up into the woods there on the other side of that creek from us. I lost sight of it there in the woods, but I know it was still there. And yeah, I ain't gonna lie to you. I was scared shitless because I did not know this dog man. It ain't one that had any dealing with in the project or anything. I really wasn't sure, but I knew enough to know that if it had wanted to kill us, it would have done it. But you aim a gun at one, yeah, you're asking for trouble. You're challenging it. Don't challenge one because you ain't gonna win. I'm just telling you straight up. I don't give a shit what kind of gun you got. I don't give a fuck how fast you are, how tough you are. They will kill you if you challenge one. Don't do it. Don't be a fool. My dad walks up there and he's talking to my two uncles, not letting the boys listen, and he's telling them about this thing. Well, Robert was a chicken shit. He'd start a fight and then leave you holding the bag and walk off. Well, he's like, well, I should just get my dog and my boy and leave. My dad said, now that would be real freaking smart. You and him by yourselves and your dogs, you know what that thing could do to you? I'm telling you what Henry said. Don't aim a gun at it and you better not shoot. If it wanted to kill us, Henry said it would have killed us after we turned the dogs loose. It's just lurking around. Don't be a fool. My dad was like, come on, let's go. So we kept going. We went out there to hunt. Well, this dog man kept paralleling us, but it was staying in the woods, and periodically you'd see eyes shine and you see it kind of watching, but it stayed away, you know. And the only thing I can figure is it knew we had guns. It knew we had dogs in there. It didn't care that it was outnumbered. That's just the way they are. They don't give a rat's ass. They don't look at it like humans do. Humans like, oh my god, there's three or four of them. Hell with that noise. Not a dog man. They don't care. What he was probably waiting for was us to pop a coon out. He would grab it, take off, and go eat it somewhere. Maybe feed his family or his pack. I don't know. If it was a him, I don't know if it was a him or a her. I really didn't get a look at the boobs or the wiener. So that's what I conveyed to my dad was that he's probably just waiting for us to shoot a coon or maybe a possum or something, and it would steal it and go on about its merry way. Don't think that they won't do that because they do. I'm telling you for a fact. I've had many dealings with these things coon hunt. Luckily, I was still alive to tell the tale, but I've never done anything stupid like point a gun or shoot at one. I know better. I seen what these some bitch can do to you. I don't know part of that. We keep walking. Now the dogs, either one didn't know it was there or just didn't pay it no mind. Maybe it conveyed to the dogs it wasn't after the dogs, it was after whatever we might shoot. Coon, possum, whatever. We keep walking. Like I said, this woods is continually getting wider, and it's so black. If you turn the lights off, you can't see shit, not even your hand in front of your face. And up until now, it'd been fairly easy walking. Well, we come to a place, and the path we was on crossed over another path. And this path was probably, and it was dirt. There was no grass or nothing growing in this path, but it come to like a crossroads in the woods. So we're kind of sitting there trying to decide. My uncle's trying to decide which way he's going to take us. And he goes, boys, if we turn to the left, there's lots of briars. And he said, I ain't got my chaps on. I know you guys don't have leg protection on. So he said, I know the boys don't. He said, if we go to the right, it takes you down and drops you off in that creek. Then you have to go up or down the creek in order to get out to get on the path. And he said, that's pretty rough walking. So he said, I think we'll just keep going the same way we're going. So we stopped there, take a break a little bit, and listening. Don't hear it paralleling us no more. Maybe because we stopped, I don't know. But there wasn't no birds making any kind of noise, which is that's something you always want to keep in mind when you're out there, whether you're hiking, coon hunting, squirrel hunting, whatever it is you're doing, or even fishing. Even at nighttime, birds, when you get near where they're at in the tree roosting or in the bush roosting, whatever, they start making noises. Same way with frogs, crickets, spring peepers, frogs, all that stuff makes noises, even at nighttime. When that noise stops dead and it's just pure silence, that's when you better have your head on a swivel. Because something bigger and meaner than you has made them go silent. Well, that night, we noticed that dog man, the woods had went silent, other than the dogs and us walking. But we kept going. But like I said, you just have to get to the mindset that just because you're out there in the woods and you see a dog man, a Bigfoot, whatever, it is probably done notice that you're coming into the woods and you're in the woods way before you will even notice it. 99.9% people that get attacked by a dog man and killed don't see it until it's right up on them. They see it as it's attacking, period. So don't let these people bullshit you and tell you, oh, old John over there laid his gun down and he was playing tic tac toe with Bigfoot and Dogmen. The game went awry and he attacked him. That's bullshit. These, I don't want to really call them predators because, yes, they are sort of a predator, but yes and no. You got to understand the woods is their territory, not ours. We have tried to make it ours and encroach in on these creatures. So keep that in mind. It'd be like somebody breaking into your house. What are you going to do? Are you going to stand there and say, hey, you want to play a game Pinochle? No. You're going to grab a gun and you're going to fire, or you're going to be dead, or robbed, whatever, raped. Same way with these creatures. Just because they see you out there and you see them, it's because they wanted you to see them. That's kind of like, hey, you're in my yard. Respect the yard, get out, or we're going to take care of it. So just keep that in mind when you're out there. You're in their territory. We have tried, me and us as human beings have tried to make it our territory. No. When we started living in houses and not sleeping in caves, sleeping on the ground out there every day, not just a camp out, we give up our right. Now, these creatures have claimed what we didn't want. And I know what you're thinking. Well, yeah, I do, because I want to go out there and go hunting and fishing. We still give up our home that became their home to live in a house with walls and a ceiling and a floor for protection. So, yes, we give up our right to our home, which is now theirs. Yeah, look at it that way. Think about that for a minute. Let that sink in. It's like a good stew when you're making like vegetable soup or chili. That smell rises up. You don't sit there and go like that. If you do, I wouldn't eat it. No, you savor the smell. So savor what I just told you. Them woods we give up as our home to live in towns, even out in the country, inside of houses, trailers, mobile homes, whatever the case may be, underground houses. We forfeited our rights. Plain and simple. That's just a simple way of looking at it. But in any case, just be aware these creatures are out there. It's their place. They just allow us to come and hunt and fish and hike, but they have rules, just like you have rules at your job, your home. Would you let somebody come in and fart at your table? I don't think so. Would you let somebody sit down at your table and be eating with a hat on? No, probably not. Would you let somebody come in with hog shit on their boots and walk through your nice clean house? Probably not. Well, they have rules too. If you shoot something and you ain't right there to catch it in your hands when it falls out of the tree, to them, it's fair game. They have to catch it by hand or mouth. We have guns. So they figure that we have the upper hand about getting these animals, whether it be a squirrel, coon, or whatever. And that bullet, just because you bought it, that's not an extension of your hand. It's kind of like dogs. If you got a couple of dogs, two or three, five, whatever dogs, and they like to play with balls or toys, whatever, take a ball and throw it out in front of a pack of dogs. What do? They'll try to push each other out of the way to get to it first and grab a hold of it. Even though it ain't their ball, they consider it their ball when it leaves your hand. So it's attack the ball. First man to the ball gets the ball. He may get his ass whipped, but he's going to get his mouth on that ball. The other's going to be trying to take it away from him. See, it's the same thing. You just have to think kind of a little bit sideways of the box in order to understand these creatures. When you think of it that way, you understand exactly what I'm trying to say, and it'll make perfect sense. It's just logical. Well, anyway, we're walking along. Now, all of us had straps on our guns, so we had them on our shoulders. We was all walking along. Well, me and my dad noticed that Elroy's two boys was walking, and they was walking like this. My dad kind of elbowed me, and he goes, "What's that? They must be scared of the dark." All of a sudden, that oldest boy of Elroy's turned around, looked at my dad, and he goes, "Hey, we're gonna be coming up on some freaky shit, and I know that out of the brothers, ain't nobody screw with you. The few times they have got their ass whooped, so can I walk on one side of you?" My dad started laughing. He goes, "Sure." We're walking along. He looked down. He goes, "What do you mean by weird shit?" He goes, "Right up here." The woods opened up. There was a big clearing. There was a whole bunch of these great big, I mean, huge stones. And it was like they was arranged in a circle, like seating. I mean, these things were huge. They wasn't real tall, but they was just big, wide. Well, noticed the other two uncles was starting to get a little bit spooked. My dad said, "Well, why don't we sit here on these rocks, take a break, give the boys a chance to take a break, and I can smoke my cigarette and maybe drink a beer or two." My uncle looked at him and he goes, "Hey, this part right here gives me the creeps." That's all bullshit. So me and my dad and Elroy, his oldest boy, sat down. And again, that older boy was sitting there like this, keeping his head down. My dad looked at him and he goes, "I ain't gonna let nothing happen to you." He goes, "It's not you I'm worried about." He said, "I've seen too many things in here." So notice my two uncles, they was, their head was just going back and forth and they was trying to watch for things. And my dad just sitting there smoking his cigarette, drinking his can of past blue ribbon, like he was in his living room or out there at the picnic table at home setting. So I just kind of sitting there, just taking it all in, watching these two guys, how they was reacting, thinking to myself, damn, if I act like that, my dad beat my ass. Leave me up in the cemetery again. Well, we're sitting there, and my dad shined a light around, and that's when we noticed this one big, huge rock was upright, and it had a flat rock on the top, like a pedestal, like with a preacher, a podium. In front of that, there was two great big, huge rocks with a big, giant, flat rock on top of that. And that flat rock on top was probably about 4 foot wide by probably 10, 12 feet long. I mean, it was huge. I don't know how the fuck somebody would have got it up there. You'd have to use a bulldozer because a tractor wouldn't have lifted those things. Tractor would have just nosedived. Could have raised the ass end up. So they had to use a bulldozer with some kind of forks or a huge forklift. And I don't know how the fuck you get a forklift in there. So I don't know how they would have done it unless they levitated them. Yes, I said levitated them, like at Stonehenge, some of these other places. Well, we was sitting there, and my dad's looking around, shining light on all this shit. My dad was like, "What the hell?" My oldest cousin spoke up, and he goes, "Uncle, this is a bad place. I don't like being here." My dad goes, "Will you take your goddamn hands away from your eyes? I ain't letting nothing happen to you. You're sitting right here." He goes, "You don't understand, but you're hopefully we don't find out, but we're probably going to. This ain't a place we need to be sitting." Now we all got our lights on, shining around different directions, looking and looking at these rock formations. My dad spoke up and he goes, "Elroy, hell you know about this place?" He goes, "Oh, it's just them are just natural rock formations." My dad goes, "Bullshit. What are you not telling me?" He goes, "Elroy, now I got no reason to be cross with you, but you best be speaking up. Are we in some kind of danger?" My dad no more than got them words out. Every one of our lights, not one at a time, all at one time, all of our lights went bam and out. Now it's pitch black, except for the lantern I'm carrying. I'm the only one carrying a Coleman lantern, and it's down at my feet. So I grabbed onto that. Everybody starts tapping in their lights and messing with the switches. They ain't coming on. There was a limb about 3 foot from me on this tree, and perfect spot to hang a lantern. That limb was probably maybe about 4 foot long. about the size of a pool stick, the top of it, the big end. So Dad broke off a portion of it, and he goes, "Hang that light up here so we can see what's going on with our light." Thank God you brought that damn light. I tell you, it serves dual purpose. When the light goes out, I can see. If I get cold, I put it down there between my legs and stand over top of it, and I heat my core up. The core is like your chest area. They call that the core. I said, I ain't freezing to death unless that lamp goes out. If the lamp goes out, I'm screwed. And my dad was laughing. He goes, "Well, I used to give you shit about that light, that lantern, but tonight it come in handy, and you got a very good point." I never ever got too off of many compliments, so I savored that one. Now we got this light hanging up so everybody can see, and it put out a light probably about 20-foot diameter all the way around this lantern. And I had a shield that go on the back of it, but I had turned it upside down. I was going to turn it back later. It had just a wing nut, you just undo it and let it slide down and tighten it back up. But I want to be able to see around me. So we're sitting there. To this day, I still don't know what it was, what they were. The canopies in those trees around us, that was around this rock supposed formations, started shimmying. You could hear them leaves up there. Sound like a big ass wind, but there wasn't no wind. But they was shaking like something was trembling them. Kind of like a pecan picker, a pecan shaker. They put that thing around the tree and they shake the tree and the pecans fall out. That's what it kind of reminds you of. But you couldn't see nothing. There wasn't no machinery there. All at once, to say no shit. Something, some things, not just one, plural, black, jumped out of the tree, fell out of the tree, floated out of the tree, flew out of the tree. I don't know. All I know is we heard it and we all looked up and we seen these huge, dark, human shaped things that were, I don't know how to say it, flying out of the tree like a squirrel, a flying squirrel. Back then, they didn't have those suits where you could jump off of a cliff or someplace and glide like you see these fools doing now on YouTube. Fucking crazy assholes. But these things was doing like that. They had their arms and legs out, and it looked like from the wrist downward was like some kind of a either a skin something. But you couldn't make out faces or anything like that. And I ain't talking about one or two. Every tree had 5 or 6 of these things that come out and was gliding toward the ground but at an angle. Let me tell you something. Whatever these things were when they hit the ground, we didn't stick around to share a beer or smoke a cigarette with them. We got the fuck out of there. We took off running. And these things started in behind us. Well, after we got up a little ways, there was like looked like a vehicle path, like a road, but it didn't really actually go anywhere. It was just right there and maybe about 300 foot long. But at the end of that, each end, there was briars and woods. So what would there be used for a vehicle path that short that it didn't go nowhere? Don't know. We wasn't sticking around to find out. We crossed that son of a bitch and kept on a running. Well, somehow we ended up down further on that little creek. Well, we stopped at the little creek there, trying to decide if we're going to try to jump it or just say fuck it and run through it. Well, we noticed there wasn't nothing coming behind us. Well, that was good and bad. Good because we're not being chased now. Bad, we don't know where these sons of bitches are. Did they glide back up into the trees or out on top above the trees and was waiting to ambush us? We don't know. We wasn't taking no fucking chances though. So we decided, fuck it, we was gonna run through that creek. We ran through the creek and there was a big hump. So you had to get a good run through that creek to make it up across that big hump because it was kind of muddy. And after a few trials and misses and sliding and falling, we made it up and over top of that big hump. And there was a fence there, just a stretch of fence, probably about 50 foot long. Why 50 foot? I don't know. I ain't the one to put it there. When we come to that fence, we decided to stop and take another break because we was kind of winded. And again, my oldest cousin is sitting there like this. My dad's trying to catch his breath, and he's, "Goddamn, boy, you been running like that? How in the hell do you run like that?" He goes, "Don't look over that hill." Well, you know, saying "don't look over the hill," everybody's gonna go, and everybody did. There was an old log cabin sitting on top of that hill in the brush. It was blazing. It was on fire, blazing. Well, the grown-ups started running up there. They jumped over the fence and started running up there to see if maybe there was people in there. But when they got up there, it wasn't there. There were no charred spots on the ground. So us boys run up there to catch up, and they're looking. There's a clearing there where a house could have been. Well, we're standing there looking around, trying to figure out where in the hell did this house go to. And I'd seen things like this in the projects. So I kept my mouth shut. My dad come with her and got down my face, and he goes, "Don't lie to me." "Lie to you about what?" He goes, "You know anything about that house?" I said, "No." I said, "But we had things like that in the project where they were in a portal. They'd show up for a short time. If you got caught walking in that house when it took off, you go with it wherever it goes." He goes, "So you've seen things like that?" And I said, "Yeah, I have." Well, we standing there talking. My dad goes, "Damn, that's just weird." "Yeah, but after you've seen it several times, it's not nearly as weird." Well, he didn't know what to say. He popped another tab. He hammered that bear down, grabbed for another one, and again, we were just standing there. He didn't know what to say. And everybody was just kind of looking around, shining the lights around. They started working again, started shining around. And couldn't figure out why they come back on, but they did, so everybody started shining. All of a sudden, again, all the lights went out except for my lantern. So I set it on this old stump that was probably about 3 foot high, and was sitting there, everybody's messing with their lights, trying to get them to come back on. And they had full charge, so there's no reason why they shouldn't have worked, other than what was going on there was causing them to go out. Just out past the glow of that light, I was the first one that noticed it. I said, "Hey guys, we got company." And we started looking around, There must have been 75 or 100 people standing by these trees, just all the way around us, like they was boxing us in. Well, if you know anything about hillbillies, we all grabbed guns off the shoulder and getting ready to lock and load and go to town. These hooded people, you couldn't see their faces, kind of looked like some kind of a cloaked, hooded type things like you would see these old monks wear. They would just, and they wouldn't say nothing. They were just standing there watching us. Well, my dad spoke up because he was the bravest one of the three brothers. He goes, "I don't know what the fuck you want. We're in here coon hunting. We ain't fucking with you. We have guns, and we don't give a shit if you got guns or not. We'll either go with fists or we'll just shoot out and see who's the last one standing." They didn't say nothing. They just kept standing there listening. Well, that pissed my dad off even worse. And he goes, "I don't want to know. Don't take your hoods off. But I don't want to know who the fuck you are. 'Cause I don't care who you are. Leave us alone." And again, it was like they didn't hear us. So it was like a Mexican standoff. We're standing there with our guns trained on them, and they're standing there by the trees watching us. Somebody's got to give. Somebody's going to have to yield, and it wasn't going to be us because we was coming out of there. My dad told all of us, he said, if they take one step forward, cut them down. My dad meant it. He was not fucking playing. So we was all ready. Out of nowhere, the dogs start treeing. So we all kind of glanced in the direction where the dogs were. These things weren't there anymore. We started shining the lantern. They were gone. Now, I don't know where in the fuck they disappeared to, where they went. I have no clue. So we start walking with just my lantern, and we're all trying to watch, make sure they ain't gonna pop up like some kind of jackrabbit and surprise us. So we're walking along, and we come to a place that's the timber had kind of thinned out a little bit, and all of a sudden, click, click, our lights come on. Like, what the fuck's wrong with these lights? So I tap my dad on the arm. I say, "Hey, I've seen things like this before. It's this place we're in. It's Lost 40. It's causing this. The beings in here and the shit that's going on here is causing it to shut our lights off." Now, let me tell you something that a lot of these ghost hunters get wrong. I've heard over 1 billion of these people talk about, "Oh my God, they dream of light." They're full of shit. Ghosts do not need to drain your lights to move something, to screw with you, or to manifest themselves. That's some bullshit idiot that started that shit, and the rest of them fucking idiots hopped on that wagon and decided to take a ride on it. I'm telling you right now, there's energy all around us. They don't need your goddamn flashlight. They don't need your tape recorder. They do that to get your attention. So now that we got that clear, Taps and all these other jack offs that's running around saying, "Oh, they drained my batteries." They're full of shit. I can tell you right now from experience, they're full of shit. I told you on my channel, I will tell you the truth. I will not lie to you, and I'm here to tell you from experience. Ghosts do not drain batteries because they need it to stick around, talk to you, or show themselves. That's bogus bullshit. So I'm glad we got that taken care of right now. So we walking along and everybody's lights are working and everybody's shaking their lights trying to figure out what the hell's called. Maybe a short in the cable or a cord. Fuck, who knows? But our lights are working. So we start shining around to see where these hooded fuckers went to. Are they been stalking us? Did they just let us go? I have no clue. But we walk on a little further, and again we're walking in a line like a bunch of chickens or ducks, and I'm the last one. I was walking along, and all of a sudden I felt something bump me in the back. So I turned to look, and I see this guy standing behind me. I'm like, what the fuck? He was kind of dressed like we were hunting. So I grabbed my dad's arm. I said, hey, who's this fucker behind us? My dad turned around with a gun ready. I was like, hey, don't put that motherfucker on me. He goes, mister. And everybody stopped because my dad started talking. And everybody turned around. Everybody seen the same thing. This guy was right behind me. Now I'm facing him because I turned around. And the guy's sitting there and he goes, I don't mean nobody no harm. I lost my dog in here. I've been looking for him for several hours. My dad said, you almost got fucking shot. He goes, does anybody know what year this is? And my dad told him. He goes, you mean I've been in the woods for over 25 years? My dad says, is there something wrong with you? Are you kind of cuckoo in the head or what? He goes, no, he says, it only seemed like a few hours. My dad said, well, it's damn funny. Our dogs are treating, that's where we're headed to. But we don't hear your dog. Normally, your coon dog would go to our coon dog because it's on a tree. And the guy goes, but I did lose my dog. And I've been looking for her. So we're all kind of like, is this guy okay in the head? Is he telling the truth or is he stoned? Is he smoking crack or what? Or maybe drank a whole jug of moonshine. He just out there wandering around like a blind man. My dad walked over and stuck his hand out and he goes, my name is, and I won't use my dad's name. The guy took my dad's hand. I knew something was up because my dad looked at his hand and looked back up at him and turned and looked at me. And the guy said his name. My dad's eyes got as big as saucers. My two uncles knew the name, and they was both shocked, scared. They wasn't going to say nothing. So Dad turned loose of his hand, and the guy just standing there, and he goes, "I gotta find my dog. My wife probably got supper, and here I am out here chasing after this damn dog." My dad turned over to me and he goes, "That guy's hand is cold as a block of ice." I said, "That's because he's not real. That right there is a real dead man walking. That's a ghost. He looks solid as me and you." I said, "I don't give a shit if he does." He said he'd been out there for over 25 years looking for his fucking dog. His hands are cold. He showed up out of nowhere behind me. I'm telling you, that son of a bitch is dead. Dad goes, "You're fucking crazy." I said, "I'm telling you, he's dead." Now, while me and my dad sitting there having a conversation, we stopped, turned, and my dad was going to ask him another question. The guy was gone. but his footprints was still in the dirt right there where he'd been standing. My dad looked at me and he goes, I thought you was shitting. I said, I told you I wasn't shitting. He was dead. He probably died here in these woods, still looking for his dog. Didn't you hear him say that his wife probably got supper? Now, if he'd been gone for several years, 25 years, why would his fucking wife still have supper waiting for him? Because he don't know he's dead. My dad just sat there kind of looked at me like, what kind of shit was you into? I didn't say nothing. But I held a grudge a long time for what my mom and dad did to me. Sold me into the project so they could get fucking money. That was bullshit. But I kept my mouth shut. And I did over several years keep my mouth shut. Until now. So everybody got him a beer and us boys got a soda. The grown ups was smoking. And I was smoking cigarettes. I don't mess with dope and that kind of shit. And nobody's saying a fucking word. Everybody is in total shock except for me, I think. Because, I mean, it would be like somebody that's never ever seen a dog and a dog hops up beside them out of nowhere. Yeah, I'd be scared the fuck out of them, but not me because I've been around it. I ain't saying it didn't scare me because it did. But I'm just saying it didn't affect me like it did these others. Yeah, it startled me because the motherfucker was behind me walking. But I knew when I seen the look on my dad's face and he looked down at his hand that something wasn't right. But that man's hand was cold and he come from nowhere and disappeared just as fast. They was sitting there, like I said, nobody's talking. Everybody's thinking the same thing. What the fuck kind of place is this? So we decide to walk a little further here. Hopefully we'll come to the end of these fucking woods. Now we had walked several hours and it seemed like we wasn't coming to an end in these woods. Well, my Uncle Elroy said we'll take this one path over here and that'll circle us around back to the truck. Dude, let me tell you something. We walked in every fucking direction trying to find a field to get out of them woods. We could never find the field that surrounded that woods. We walked until the sun started peaking. We looked each direction and you couldn't see no fields. It was all woods. My dad looked at my uncle and he goes, you fucker. What kind of bullshit you get us into? We come across some kind of creature in the creek that looks like a wolf but stands up on two legs. We seen hooded figures. We come past looked like a sacrifice place. We had a ghost and we seen a goddamn ghost house. Yeah, but it's good hunting in here. My dad said, yeah, if you can find your fucking way out, you fucking dingaling. My dad was pissed. He'd have whipped that Uncle of mine's ass that night, but he would want to get the fuck out of there before anything else happened. So my dad said, fuck this, I'm taking the lead. I can kind of see the sun over there, so that tells me that that's in the east. I'm going to walk toward that sun. That's got to lead me someplace. We walked and kept going, walking toward that sun. We walked for 3 fucking hours. We finally got out of them woods between 9 and 10 a.m. Do you know that we walked after we got out into the field? We walked about 500 feet, and right there was the fucking vehicle. Now, explain this to me. How is it we walked all night long and couldn't find a field? I'll tell you why. The Lost 40 is a portal to another dimension where you see dogmen, you see ghosts, you see phantom houses, you see hooded figures, you see all kinds of shit. That's why there is several places like this in the world, but there's only one way in and one way out. And if you're lucky, even if you get lost, and I've been lost several times in there with my uncles and my dad. Why did we keep going back? We was all curious. How could a narrow strip of woods you get in there and walk all night long and yet you can't find the fucking field or the vehicle? In later years it became a challenge. Now I dealt with things like this in the project, so it was just another game for me. Yeah, it was scary. I won't lie to you. And any son of a bitch that gets in one of those, oh, I wasn't scared. They're full of shit. You better check their shorts, because I guarantee you there's a fucking brownie mark in there. If not a big fucking turd rolling at their boot. But that's just the way I am. I see a cemetery at nighttime. Me and my wife want to go in it. We see a place that looks spooky. We want to go. It's just the way I am. It's just the way my wife is. A lot of other people be like, fuck that. And like I said, I've been back to that Lost 40 dozens of times. And each time, it's the same shit. No matter how you enter that place, you will not come out where you think you're going to come out. And you won't come out at the time you think you're going to come out. That's why I'm not telling you where this location's at, because there has been deaths there. Like that old man. And it's hard telling how many people have been killed in there by these creatures, these hooded figures, sacrificing people and animals. Who knows? But I don't want it on my conscience that I told you exactly where the spot is, because I know there's people that watches the channel that never says nothing. They just lurk. And they would go to this place. And I don't want that on my conscience. I don't have much of a conscience, but I do have a little bit, especially in stuff like that, because you get some buffoon that you try to warn them not to go someplace, and they go there and get their full self killed, or they fucking disappear, and then you feel like an asshole. I enjoy telling you guys about this stuff, but do I really want you to go to these places and find out the hard way? Not really. You're not equipped for it. So just enjoy my stories, and just a heads up, me and my wife do reply back and forth to comments. That thing that happened the other day is because this guy was playing head games, word games. And somehow I got into the Jesus thing. And his comment, if you go back and look, this is why I got so pissed off. His comment was, well, you wouldn't know Jesus. How were you supposed to imagine him? Then he turned around later in the conversation. Go back and look at it. He turns around later and he goes, well, I met Jesus in passing one time when I time traveled. Basically, he was mind gaming that. I didn't get mad because he asked an honest question. This guy has a bad habit. He's done it on my channel here a while back. He's also done it on Ethan's channel. He has a thing where he watches all the videos, hey man, I love that video. And then all of a sudden he comes up playing squirrel games. I won't play squirrel games. I'm a good guy, but this guy was trying to mind fuck me. Sorry, nobody mind fucks me for free. I'll answer any question you got. You don't have to be scared to ask me a question or say something to me. Just don't try to mind fuck me. I'm not into those kind of games. Now, if this guy made an honest mistake and had a brain fart, okay, fine. But you kept the game going. That's why I got pissed off. As far as actually wanting to go look for you, not really. But you fuck with me, I'll make it a priority to find you. Otherwise, live and let live. I tell this stuff because I want people to understand what's going on in our world. I want you people to understand. There's too many knuckleheads out there that's full of shit. They're spreading all this fucking bullshit around and everybody's eating it with fucking shovels. I'm not that way. I'm here to tell you the truth, and if you want to listen, okay. You don't, exit the hell out. That's all I got to say about it. So don't be afraid to leave a comment. Me or my wife, and I'll tell you right now, if my wife answers a question, it's because I'm busy doing something. I guarantee you, she's told me what the comment was. Hey, how do you want me to answer that back? And I'll tell her what to write, what to type in. 'Cause I'm busy. Now, I do appreciate you people hanging with me while me and my wife been painting my house, her house, our house. It ain't because we need to save money. We done it for the pure satisfaction. It's our house and we wanted to do it. And yeah, let me tell you something. It's been a hot son of a bitch. But we got our house done. We even put big numbers up because I want my wife to have a beautiful house. So thanks for bearing with me. I know the stories have been kind of short, but between that and taking care of my animals, it's kind of wore me out. And we still got to put shutters up. I'm going to build some shutters and she's going to paint them and I'm going to hang them. We still got to shed the paint and chicken out the paint and a catio. I even built her a catio. So thanks for bearing with me. I do appreciate each and every one of you. Like I said, don't be scared of me. I don't go hunt people down for fun. I'm not out there trying to mind screw somebody, but somebody was trying to mind screw me. Go back and watch one of my videos and look in the comments. You have no reason to be scared of me. That guy had it coming, so I give it to him. I set him straight. You want to play games with me? That's not a good idea. I ain't screwing with you. I'm just on here telling my truth, and that's just the way it is. It's me and my wife's channel. Don't come and try to play mind games with me. I'm not into that sort of shit. Other than that, I welcome any comment or any question. I will answer any question anybody's got. But don't come here fucking with me. There's trolls, and I know there's people that listen never says nothing. That's fine. And there's trolls. I've dealt with enough trolls, and I can deal with them real quick. But I'm trying to give you a chance, Scarborough Bull Bigfoot, by leaving you on here where you can watch and listen and make another comment. Just don't play me for an asshole. Don't play me for a fool. Neither one will work out very good for you. As far as anybody else, you got a question, ask. Is there something you want to know? Ask. Trust me, my wife reads me every comment if I'm busy working, and I discuss with her and tell her what I want her to write, what I want her to text back. I even answer the questions. I answer them through her if I'm busy working while she's taking a break. That's the way we operate. We're like a team. Without her, I couldn't be doing this show. She is my better half. She's prettier than me. I'm an ugly motherfucker. It's like Beauty and the Beast. She's Beauty and I'm the Beast. That's just the way it is. So thank you for watching, and if you got something you want to say or ask or leave a comment, whatever, feel free. I'm not going to jump and bite your head off. I'm not going to come and show up in your mirrors. I just had one guy that his conversation irked me, and I wanted to get it out there. That's the honest truth. Have I bothered any of you? No. Have I answered your questions when you ask? I do like your comments. I like to read them. And if it's a question or something, I'll try to answer it. So again, just don't be afraid to ask a question or leave a comment, because that was just that guy trying to play games. And I ain't gonna sit here and pretend like he wasn't trying to play games, because he was. Go back and read the comments. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed tonight. If you have any questions, ask. And like I said, I do this because I enjoy telling you about myself, the things I've been through, my experiences, and try to set the record straight. All these people run around saying that ghosts drain batteries because they need the energy, otherwise they go back to where they come from. Bullshit. I'm telling you, that's bullshit. I just want the truth out there. That, and I enjoy talking. My wife tells me that my mouth runs like a bell clapper on a goose's ass. Yeah, if I got something to say. And I enjoy bringing these stories to you that are true stories. I'm not some of these people, and I won't mention no names. I ain't like some of these people that is faking shit in order to get the views, get people to watch. That ain't my style. You see me, I'm sitting here. There's no hype. There's no big giant mic. There's just me and my phone. That's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get. You come to my channel. This is what you get. The truth. I ain't out there faking shit in order to get people to watch. To me, that's a bunch of bogus bullshit. And I think some of these people out there that's faking shit in order to get the oohs and the ahs and the followers, they ought to be taken out there and tied to a fucking tree and horsewhipped. I'll even donate the fucking reins. I don't believe in that shit, and that's why I'm not a part of that shit. That's just the way it is. Well, I think I've run my mouth long enough tonight. In any case, I hope you enjoy the story. And I just wanted to set the record straight. I'm just a person that's had a lot of shit go on in their life, and I'm glad to bring the stories to you all that want to listen. And if you don't, I understand that too. I like to keep my subscribers, but if they don't want to stay, I ain't holding them there. I do enjoy all of you. And yes, Urso, I know you're there. And I enjoy you being there, Urso. And anybody that listens, thank you. Seriously, and that's no joke. Thank you. I'm glad you're there. I'm glad you like the shows. Without you guys, I'd be just talking to thin air. Be talking to myself, basically. It's okay if you talk to yourself, just don't answer yourself because they'll put you in the nut house. Don't worry, you'll be in good company 'cause I'll be sitting playing the next cell over. Well, have a good night, and I hope you enjoyed something. Maybe you learned something. Maybe it's just entertainment. I don't watch much TV because there's too much bullshit on their lives. So, thank you again, and just wanted to straighten everything out. Wanted you to hear my side of it. Like I said, you can go back and look at that show and look at the comments. Make your own decision. But again, don't be afraid of me. Don't be mad at me for no reason. Go back and check the comment out, see what was said, and then decide. Thanks, Urso. That means a lot. Thank you very much. Sorry being kind of quiet tonight. I've been just telling my story, and but I do appreciate that, Urso. Thanks. I don't know if you knew about the conversation, but you can go back and watch. I can't remember which video it is, but the guy made a comment, and I didn't much appreciate it. And thank you, because like I said, I'm just on here bringing my stories of things that's happened to me. Every one of these places I could take you to. I really don't want to see somebody go into some of these places thinking that I'm going to go there and prove it wrong. If you go there and something happens to you, that's not on me. Yeah, I'm going to feel bad for a few minutes because I feel like I told you where it was at, but I didn't give you the green light to go there. But if you ever figure out where some of these places are, and some of them I told you where they are, and you go there, thanks, Euro, Urso, and you go there and something happens to you, that's not my fault. I'm just bringing true stories that I've been involved with, including the projects and everything. But if you happen to find these places and you decide you're going to go there and something happens, don't blame me because I've warned you. I've told you about the places. And the Lost 40 is one of those places that you go there farting around by yourself, you'll probably become a 411 missing person. And that's not my fault. I just brought you the story because it's true and this place does exist. It's mainly for your entertainment. All this stuff I've experienced, I'm bringing to you for your entertainment. But all this stuff did happen. You know, that's just the way it is. You won't see any big frills with me. What you see is what you get. But I can tell you this, I've been through a lot of crap. And I'm willing to open up and share it with anybody that wants to listen. That's just the way it is. My wife is the one that helped me get started on this venture. I've been carrying all this stuff around me for years, talking to just her about it. I couldn't trust nobody. And she's the one that put it in my head that I should tell everybody, which I thought was a damn good idea. And I still do. That's why I'm still here. If I meet some new people along the way, become friends, like your soul, great. Or Cecilia, great. But she helped me get a voice to get some of this off my chest. I've been carrying around for years. And I'm old. I'm getting old. Look at the fucking white in my beard. Yeah, I agree, Urso. That was a good one. That was funny. Thanks for the laugh. But yeah, I just also got some books I'm writing, and they will be coming out. There's going to be quite a few of them, but the main one I've been working on is the one about my life and the stories. They just in the book it'll go more into detail and stuff like that. For here, I got to kind of be careful. But when they do get ready to come out, I'll let everybody know. Anybody that might be interested. If there's nobody interested, that's fine too. But I did write a book, and I'm still working on some other books of mine that maybe like some with ghost stories, the true ghost stories I've been telling on here, maybe going a little more detail. And the other about my life will be volumes because it took many and many years off my life through these projects, being born and placed with my parents and all that stuff. But anyway, I'll get off here because I've been yerking y'all's chain a little too much. You probably go to the bathroom because I know I need a cigarette and I need to use the bathroom myself. So I won't keep you any longer. But like I said, don't be afraid to leave me a message or even email me if you want to. And if my wife does happen to answer, it's because she's told me and I've given her the answer to give to you, give to her to give to you. So it's not like I'm saying, hey, your messages don't matter. They do matter to me. And I do either listen to what she's reading to me or I read it myself. Yeah, it is good to get out my experiences because you carry that shit around you long enough, it can consume you and burn you up in the fire. I've just managed all these years and started telling my wife about things. And she's like, you need to write that down in a book and even start a channel where you can talk about it and write your book. And that's why I'm here. And to tell you some truths about ghost hunting and stuff. All these people like Taps, Ghost Adventures, all these dingbats are running around saying shit that ain't true. And I want to set that record straight because some people don't know. And they'll believe what these guys tell them until somebody proves the point. And I'm here to tell you ghosts don't need your flashlight battery, they don't need your cell phone battery. If it goes out, yeah, they might have caused it, but they ain't sitting there like a vampire sucking the energy. They don't need your energy. Energy is all around us. How do you think trees grow? Flowers grow. That's energy. There's an endless amount of energy that you can draw on. And a ghost, you think they don't know that? Yes, they do. So there's my facts. This is who I am. If there's something I say that offends you, leave me a message and tell me. Yeah, ain't no shit. It is. I ain't gonna lie to nobody. I've seen ghosts, and sometimes they scare the shit out of you, 'cause they pop right up behind you or right up in front of you. But you know, it's like it comes with the territory. If you go out there looking for something, you're probably damn well going to find it. And I have. I've taken the pictures to prove it. But it's what you do with the knowledge. I could have kept all this knowledge and not shared it. And to me, it just didn't seem right. It's like, maybe there's other people out there like you, like me, like you or so. And I wanted a platform where if somebody was experiencing any of the things I have, or different even, they could come to my channel, let it spill out. I don't know everything. I only know what I've experienced. So, you know, feel free to come here, share your experiences like Urso's talking, leave me an email, message me. That's what this was. This is why I wanted a channel of my own. Well, me and my wife to share. But like I said, I can only tell you what I experienced. There was no place for me because nobody wanted to talk to me. Nobody wanted to put me out there because I'm not a Martin Groves, I'm not a Barton Nunley, or any of these other fuckers. Yeah, that I seen one when I was little too, and it scared the shit out of me. That man floating on the stairs. I talked about that in one of the videos. So yeah, I mean, all this stuff is knowledge. Like I said, I don't know everything. I can only tell you what I've experienced. And I've been into a lot of shit. So that's why I'm here. That's just why I wanted this platform, is to get some of this information out. Maybe y'all have information that you want to get out. That's just it's a place you anybody can come here and feel at home. That was the whole purpose of this. And so I could unload my shit. See. Well, I'm gonna get off here and go have me a smoke. And thank everybody for being here. Without you guys, I'd be talking to myself and probably answering myself. I don't know. The dog might be answering me. But in any case, thank you. Damn. Yeah, there's some weird shit out there. So, like I said, I've ghost hunted and everything else, and I still don't have all the answers, but there's some weird shit out there. Our world is fucking weird, and it seems like it gets weirder by the day. Well, I'm gonna get off here and go have a smoke, use the bathroom, maybe get me a bite to eat. Hopefully, I'll see you on some other videos, or maybe the next time I do a live, anybody and everybody show up that wants to. So until then, thank all of you. Thank all my subscribers. Thank you. And good night. Y'all take care. Thanks for being here.